Welcome to Driving the Lane with Randy Kraayenbrink and Chuck Rowe, a podcast presented by News Talk 1540 KXEL. Now, Driving the Lane.
Welcome to Driving the Lane. Randy Kraayenbrink, Chuck Rowe, the show where we talk about mostly one thing and one thing only, and that is
Panther basketball.
It's important that we remind you that although we are the official UNI basketball show for News Talk 1540 KXEL, our comments may not reflect the feelings of our friends at UNI. However, Randy is a former player, and I'm personally pumped that this is our first show of the season, Randy.
There it is. I'm excited, Chuck. We're kicking it off with a good one as well.
We have a great show to kick ourselves off here. Do we have one guest for you today? Not at all, Randy.
Not
we
at
don't
all.
have one guest.
Not at all.
We have two great guests joining us today, both Emerson and AJ Green. Up next, let's get started. Randy, we are excited to have two guests joining us today, both excellent athletes from UNI. Drum roll, please. Emerson and AJ Green, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us. I'm excited about it.
I couldn't decide today, guys, if I wanted to go with Cedar Falls gear or if I wanted to throw a little UNI gear. I might switch halfway through the show for you guys, okay?
So first off, congrats to both of you for having excellent years. Let's start off with Emerson. The team is having a great season so far. The ladies are off to a 5-3 start. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think this year it's been a little different. Coming in and just being a leader on and off the court has been something that I'm trying to step up to. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. We have a good group of girls, got a whole new offense going on, which has been a lot of fun and playing all to our strengths, it's been a good start.
Now, last year, you had that tough loss against Illinois State to end the season. I think it was a 2-point game, wasn't it? I mean, it was pretty close game. What was that bus ride back for you like? And how did Coach Warren use that as motivation for this year?
Yeah, it was a little bit sour. I think we all knew that we should have been the team to come out on top. I think that using that and knowing that we are so capable of getting to that point again this year, and just we don't want that feeling again. That was not fun. So I think just using it as motivation. A lot of us are returning and we know how it feels and we don't want to do that again.
Now, competitors are competitors. So I can see this answer going either way that I'm about to ask both of you. But for both of you, is it harder to lose a close, important game like that? Or is it harder to watch your sibling lose a close game like that?
Oh, man. I think, at least from my end, when I'm playing in games like that, I mean, it always sucks to lose, but when you're playing in the game, it's kind of just, you don't really think about losing. But like when I'm watching them, it's a lot more like I feel the nerves of it. Like I'm nervous for her. And like when I'm playing, I never feel that way. So it's kind of different. I
think I agree. It's different when you're watching it than playing.
So one person could win a championship, one person only. Do you sacrifice yourself or do you want your sibling to win that championship?
What championship are we talking about?
Fair
Driveway question. Or on real basketball? Yeah.
Fair question. We won't even put you on the spot. Randy, what do you have there?
Hey, just a couple questions about growing up, right? So obviously I raised some kids who were athletes, all that fun stuff. But they never had that, competitiveness as far as siblings, right? Because the two of you obviously are excelling in the exact same sport. So at what point on the driveway or what point on the court did the two of you kind of go, you're pretty good, or like, yeah, you're pretty good? I mean, at what point was that? And then talk about maybe some of the horse games you played or shootout, whatever you might have played.
Yeah, I think I first started to realize it kind of more when I was watching them, when she was it would have been when she was playing like AAU, probably, 7th or 8th, 9th grade, kind of just realizing, how athletic she was and how she could handle it and really defend and kind of just get to anywhere on the floor. And so that's when I realized, like, man, she's a real athlete in the family. But, and like we'd play in the backyard, either whether it was horse or different shooting games we kind of come up with, and she can shoot it too. So she would always kind of, give me a run for my money, and it'd be competitive and back and forth for sure.
I think that I used to hate admitting that AJ was like good. Like I would always like know he was good, but I'd always be like, whatever. Like, but I think when he came to college, I think that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like he's actually pretty good. Like it just finally clicked. I don't know. And I'd actually like he'd tell me stuff in high school and I'd be like, whatever. AJ, like, okay. But I think in college I finally am like, he knows what he's talking about. Like I should probably listen to him.
Okay.
Well, when you're really young, I mean, yeah, we'll play each other in horse, let's say, and big sibling's always going to beat little sibling until you reach a certain age. Then all of a sudden things get a little equal. When was the first time you remember beating AJ in something, and how did he take it?
Ooh, I don't. I would say
Ping pong, maybe?
maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
What did we?
you probably beat me a few times in the backyard, or whether it was some other type of sport, mini golf or something, but I never took it.
Never
Very
took it well. Mm-mm.
It was
We
always,
would play
I
a game
would-
where we'd shoot it from our trampoline into the hoop, and if I made it before him, I'd stand out there so long. He would get so mad if I made it before him. We'd have to shoot till he made it. Never was good.
Did you guys ever remember, because everything I would guess would be pretty competitive, and Randy would tell you this because he has a bunch of brothers that all are athletes, and you get competitive in everything from like who drinks their milk the quickest to who could get to the shotgun of a car first, right? Like, so can you remember a time where you were so competitive trying to do something first that you either like broke something, something in the house, or maybe you like got injured, or some funny story that you remember from then?
Oh boy.
Hmm.
I don't know. Emerson, you got anything? I'm trying to think.
Mm,
I don't know if we ever broke anything, but I know there was tears quite often.
Oh, yeah.
There was, whether I did something, like I got upset and frustrated that Emerson was either winning or I don't know, and I would kind of give her a cheap shot if we were playing some type of sport, or there would be tears though quite often.
yeah.
Emerson, you shouldn't have made him cry so much.
Emerson, one part of your game that's been really noticed is your free throw percentage. When you first started out, you were under 60%. I mean, that's like Shaquille O'Neal level right there almost. But now you're in like the 70s, obviously a huge improvement. Was this a mental change, or did you change your shot a little bit? Tell us through the process of that.
Yeah, I think in our first couple of games, our team gets to the free throw line. One game, I think we got there like 42 times. Like we get there all the time, and making free throws is something that like you're not guarded. Like you should be able to make them. And I think we talked a lot as a team about like we could losing a 3-point game to Iowa State, like making 3 free throws and like you're tied with them. So I think it's just like a mental thing. And as a team, we've really taken that on, making 100 free throws every single day. Like it's just a mental thing that you can make them. It's just doing it.
And something that you mentioned, earlier is that your offense is a little bit different. Something that we've been noticing is that every year your scoring goes up a little bit more. You're starting this year, right? That's a huge difference. So my question is actually for AJ, and that is, what goes through your mind when you get the chance to watch your sister play? And as being the big brother, what makes you most proud of seeing her grow in her game?
I think what makes me most proud is just the aggressiveness and confidence that she's beginning to play with, because I think I know, like I've seen and I know what she can do, like scoring wise and playmaking. And I think in the past she was always, she'd be aggressive and she'd take her shots, but she's such a good passer too that sometimes she would look to overpass. But I think this year it's been cool to watch her be able to do both, like know when she needs to either get to the free throw line or try and get a bucket, and when she can, find Grace or Kaba on the perimeter for a shot. So that's been cool. And, I try to watch all their games whenever I can, either record them and watch them later or watch them live. So her development has been great, and she's obviously a great player and a great athlete. And, I think she also has a lot more that she can do and tap into. And I think as the year goes, it's only going to get better and better for her.
Emerson, I believe it was in Cancun, correct? Where you hit the game-winning shot.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that. That had to be pretty cool. Was the play drawn up for you specifically, or did the ball just end up in your hands?
Yeah, it wasn't drawn up for me, but I mean, the play kind of broke down, and Maya knew that she had to either get to the hoop and she's really good at getting the hoop and kicking. And that's exactly what she did. I was just standing right in the corner, and I don't know.
That's awesome.
Knocked
That's
it
really
down.
cool. Really
Did you go to the coach's office and say, hey, Coach Warren, we need more plays drawn up for me here?
Yeah. You got that on tape, right, Coach?
That's right. Well, AJ, you're not having a bad year yourself. Over in the G League, you're averaging over 21 points a game. The first question is, when it comes to your scoring average, have you had to change the way of how you score from when you were playing at UNI compared to the G League?
I wouldn't say so. No, I think it's just you get a lot more open looks in the G League. Like I can just come off ball screens and shoot a three, like almost on repeat kind of sometimes. So I think I'm still trying to take the same shots and find the same shots. But I can almost be a little bit more picky about the shots that I take now, instead of having to almost force at times, or knowing like, I might not get in college, like you might not get as much space. So you kind of gotta, if you have space, let it fly. But now I kind of choose when to take my shots and the spots I want to take them from.
So on that note, you've played a couple of games, obviously, the real NBA games as well. And so in that scenario, is it because the teams don't switch maybe like they do in college? It's more man to man and you fight through the screen and do what you can do? Or what makes that an open shot consistently?
It's just a lot of like ball screen coverages, or DHO is the bigs are in drop, or so they're back. So if I can get my guy just into the screen, or if he goes under, then I got space to rise up and shoot it. Majority of the time, where in college they're either at the level or blitzing the screen, trying to make me, get the ball out of my hands and get rid of it.
So Randy, don't you know the Greens are like Michael Jordan? You can't stop them. You can only hope to contain them.
Contain,
There you go.
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
So AJ, as a two-way player, obviously for those who don't know, two-way players get to go back and forth between the G League team and the big boy club. How much warning do you get before knowing if you're going to go back and forth between games?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes ahead of time, like maybe the plan for the whole week of where they'll be or where you'll be, which games you'll be at. But other times, guys might get sick or they might get hurt with the Bucks. So it's, maybe you're playing with the Herd, and then right before the game, you find out, the next morning you got to fly to New York to be with the Bucks that night. And then maybe you're flying the next morning back to play with the Herd wherever they are. So it can kind of that sometimes be a lot of, last minute, just pack your bags and go wherever they need you. But I don't mind it. Like, it's fun. You just get to travel around and play basketball. So it's a pretty, cool experience.
Well, I know when you're going from your private plane from your mansion now, and no, I'm sure it's much different than that. But when you do switch back and forth between the two levels, as a shooter, and I know Randy has always talked about, finding your rhythm, making sure that you are consistent with your shot, et cetera, during games. But as a shooter, when you play a full game, it's a little easier to find your rhythm because you have so much time to do it. Whereas when you play maybe shorter minutes like the NBA, it could be a little tougher coming off the bench for spot minutes. Do you find that to be the case? And how do you kind of walk yourself through that?
Yeah, it definitely was in the preseason. I noticed it a lot. Like, maybe you don't play the whole first quarter and then you go in for 4 or 5 minute stretch. So it was difficult to kind of get that feel shooting it and just with the ball. But I think now, in some of my workouts, I might try to replicate that, where like maybe you're working out and then you just sit down on the ground for like 5-10 minutes and like just on your phone, just like chilling, and then get up and try and do a drill and like where you have to make shots. And I try to do some other things on the bench, just to stay warm, keep my hands warm, mess around with like an ocular training thing with like your eyes, where you look back on, like, focus on the rim and then look maybe at like your finger or something else to kind of keep your eyes like locked in and trained and ready for when you get in there, just find the hoop and let it fly. But it's getting easier now that I've been through it a little bit and kind of figuring it out.
I think when their alarms go off in the morning, I think both Emerson and AJ, I think they just wake up and go. They just do that. They got that switch thing going on. They wake up shooting, I think.
She has the hoop right in back of her. She's probably practicing when she's not. Yeah.
Oh,
So, but you know, being the little sister, you know, we got to ask what Big Bro thought of your game. Let's go the other way now. Is you got to see that AJ got some extended minutes with the Bucks a few times now. What was it like seeing him in those extended minutes?
It was pretty cool. I mean, growing up, we always talked about how cool it'd be if he got the opportunity to play in the NBA, and here he is. And so, I don't remember who he was playing, but the other day when he had like 12, I think, me, my dad, and my mom were all watching in our living room, and we definitely all three did cry. We were just so happy, and it was pretty cool just to see him out there. So I don't know, just he's been through a lot with his surgeries and everything, and just to see him out there, it's pretty special.
Well, you know, I did toss a note to KG to see if he wanted to join us. He didn't get back to me in time, but maybe next time. But that's awesome to hear that you guys were super excited about that. But when we last spoke to AJ this summer, he mentioned that some of the things he needed to improve upon, because his shooting was fine. He felt like his offense was be okay, but some of the little things like his assist turnover rates and getting to know NBA defenses a little bit more. You're now his coach, and you've been watching him play. Has he been doing a better job of those things, you think? And what suggestions would you have for him to make improvements?
Ooh, well, I've always been the defensive one in the family, but I don't know. He's been stepping it up. Let's see. What's some advice? I don't know. We still got him to move a little quicker. Sometimes he's a little slow. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm working on it.
That's right. That's where I would get him in one-on-one, is just the speed. But I don't know. He's been playing good, finding the open shooter sometimes when he's not there and attacking the hoop. I don't know. Yeah, he's been hooping. I don't have too much to say.
That's some great advice. And in fact, I'm curious, you do get a kind of a hometown-ish person your way. We talked about this during the summer, but you didn't know what it was going to be like having Jay Litt around, because you didn't really get to see him. But now you get the opportunity to see Jay Litt a little more often. What's that experience like?
That's been great. I mean, another UNI family member, kind of. So to have him around, just always have your back a little bit, you know, give you advice, pick you up on days when maybe you're not feeling it. Just to have kind of him in your corner has been great. Obviously, he's a great dude, and I've known him for a little while. So continuing to develop that relationship, and he's a great coach, and, you know, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to hoops. So just another resource that I'm trying to, you know, take advantage of.
Now, Emerson, I know it's really hard to, you want to play it cool, you know, you don't want to be fangirl, but have you ever asked, you know, I'm not going to mention any particular players' names, but have you asked yet, hey, you know, if we happen to see a game in Milwaukee, could we? A
little bit.
Yeah. Have you got the chance to meet anybody?
You've met a few guys.
Yeah, maybe a couple of them. We are lucky enough to I get 3 days off for Christmas, so we're all flying out to his Boston game, which will be a lot of fun. That's what our family Christmas will look like this year. Awesome. In Boston. Yeah. So hopefully I'll get to meet a few, take a selfie with Giannis or something.
Very cool. You know, I'm a big New York Knicks fan, which is almost like a G League team unto itself. But I'm a big New York Knicks fan, so please do me a favor, take care of Boston. Would appreciate that. But you know, people associate both of you with being great basketball players, right? And because of that, And Randy, you probably got this too. Everyone associates you. If you ever walk around Iowa and you say Randy Kraayenbrink, folks will say, "Oh, that guy from Paulina," right? Like they just associate you as athletes. But my question is, since people might actually forget you're human beings, though, not just basketball players, what is one quality about your sibling, which is awesome, that people maybe it goes unnoticed and people don't even appreciate sometimes?
Good question.
I think that a lot of people don't know that AJ is really like selfless. Like he will do anything for anyone at any time. And I think that's something like even just like in Cedar Falls, he'll always, if a kid asks for a picture, he'll always do it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people don't realize that.
And I could appreciate that. And so can Randy with his grandkids and my kids. Anytime they wanted an autograph from AJ, he was always on top of it. So that's great.
I would say about Emerson, I think she's just as much of a worker as I am. I don't know if that's, I think people always might talk about, how my work ethic is. And I don't want Emerson to get overlooked because she works, just as hard at it too. Whether it's going in early, I know she's always in the gym working or doing stuff on her own, trying to get healthy, recovery stuff. So I think people, need to recognize that and give her props for that too.
Awesome. And it's my apologies here. This is my first time really getting to know Emerson. I wish we started earlier on this. So but let's take a moment here to just learn a little bit more about each of you from a sibling perspective. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and what I want you to do is keep your answers to yourself for the moment. Just take a moment to think about the answer, and then I'm going to ask you both to see if your answers match up at all. Okay?
Man.
Here we go. Which one of you got in trouble more as a kid? Think about it for a second. And here we go. Who got in trouble more?
Emerson did.
Yeah.
So what was the best thing she got in trouble for? This isn't a question. It's like a side question here.
I don't know.
That you can say.
That you can say,
in front of all 12 million fans that we have on this podcast.
I would say that I always got in trouble for coming home late because AJ, he would never do anything. Like not even like I'd just be like at a neighbor's house when I was like in elementary school, but I had a hard time coming home on time.
Yeah, she was always late.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of falls in line, but the next question is, which one of you got away with the most when you were kids? And think about that and go.
Me. Emerson.
I would say Emerson, but I mean, I think, it was Emerson, but we were never really getting into too much trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But probably Emerson.
What about even stupid little things like, someone broke the vase or something like that? Was she ever like that stereotypical daddy's little girl, would never get in trouble? Be nice to your sister, stop picking on her.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got that at times. I think it was probably more me having doing the stupid, stuff that kind of just not being clumsy, but just making dumb mistakes. That was probably more me.
Okay.
And you blamed it on Emerson.
Oh yeah, you got to always.
Yes.
Which one of you had the messiest bedroom?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Emerson.
I was gonna say both of us.
Yeah,
both of us.
Okay. Equally clean or equally messy?
Equally messy.
Yeah.
Equally messy.
Equally messy. Sure.
Okay, if you were playing horse right now, who would win?
Me.
AJ. Or okay, the hooper of the family is my mom, though.
I heard about that.
I'm not. My mom's the hooper. I think me and AJ could easily beat my dad, but my mom's the hooper.
I'd agree with that.
So which one of you would be more likely to get a technical foul called on them?
They don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'd go with me.
Have you got one?
In high school, I got two.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever got one. So you, yeah.
Okay. And what about if you got in big trouble, which rarely happens, I understand, in your family, but if you did get in big trouble, who do you tell first, mom or dad?
I'm going with that.
I think I would tell dad too.
I'm going with that.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's say you got in a huge fight with each other. Who's likely to apologize first?
Uh,
I feel like when we were younger, probably Emerson, but then as we got older, I think we would both feel bad about it.
yeah, I think we would both just come to an agreement that it was.
I used to hold grudges too much when I was younger, but so
I would
Emerson
agree.
would apologize first.
Okay, last question for you is that in high school, you need some money because you're going out, you want to go out later than usual. Something that maybe your parents might feel a little uncomfortable about, but they're going to do it anyways. Which parent do you ask first?
My mom.
Yeah, I'd probably, mom. I think I'd go to mom.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Not bad. But, Randy, pretty similar answers for both of them for the most
Yeah,
part.
exactly. It sounds like their mom and dad did a pretty good job raising those two guys.
Not
They
too
did.
shabby.
Yeah,
I'd go with that. What I would go with.
Yeah, they did.
Good
So-
kids come from good parents, and it looks like that's probably what happened here.
Yeah. I mean, minus the fact that one of them became an Iowa State Cyclone coach.
Well,
but
yeah.
Besides that,
yeah.
So, but let's say we're talking about some future recruits, because obviously, Emerson, you're not going to be there forever. There's going to be some incoming freshmen eventually, and AJ, you're not there any longer. If you're going to talk to some future Panthers about why they should choose UNI, what would that reason be?
I would say that like we truly are just like one big family. Like I can go to any of my coaches about anything, and I think that's one thing that I really loved about UNI. So I'd say like you can come here and like you can talk to them about basketball stuff, you can talk to them about just like life stuff in general, and they'll always be there for you. So I think that's one thing I really appreciate about UNI.
I would say you're going to have a coach that is going to believe in you and give you all the opportunities that you want. And he's a player's coach, so he's going to let you, make mistakes and learn through those. And then you're going to get better. We got, whether it's Tut or PJ, like you're going to get better just as an individual, as a player while you're there. And you're joining a special team and program that has proven that they win. So it's something special to be part of, for sure.
Emerson, tell us a little. We've heard AJ's story about coming out of high school. So coming out of high school for you, were you just dead set on bleeding purple and gold from day one as a sophomore to junior in high school, or did you have inklings of going somewhere else as well?
No, I think I always knew I was gonna come to UNI.
Okay.
Just growing up, always been a Panther, and then my dad was there and AJ was there, and that's always something special, like being able to watch your siblings and have your dad in the office was really cool.
Yeah.
I think I always knew I was
Emerson she didn't care. Like she could have gone like to one of the best schools, and like she had like Duke calling in high school and all that, but she was like, "Oh, I'll just go to UNI." Like Emerson was good. She is good.
That's awesome.
Bleeding purple from the get-go. Love it. So, last question I want to ask you is, both of your teams have, younger people that maybe we may or may not be familiar with, being that it's their first year. So AJ, for the men's team, who's like maybe a freshman or sophomore that you think like that you would say, you know what, folks, you've seen this much of them, watch out by the end of the season. And Emerson, same thing with you. Who's that freshman or sophomore that people should really keep their eyes on?
I'm going to go with Landon Wolf. He's somebody that he's ultra competitive, and he's got the most confidence and belief in himself. Like, he always would want to play ones, and he would like truly believe that he could beat me every time. And it wasn't just like, oh yeah, I can beat you. It was like, no, I'm gonna beat you. Like, he would hit shots and talk trash like right away. Like, he's not backing down, and he's gotten a lot better through the years, and he works extremely hard at his game. So I think, you know, as he plays and gets more and more experience, it's just going to keep, you know, getting better, and he'll, you know, keep getting more comfortable out there.
I would have to say Riley Goebel. She's a freshman this year, and she's like 6'2", like super duper long. And I think that she's like, it works extremely hard in practice, like outside of practice. And she's working on like shooting the ball, which is an aspect and she didn't really have in high school, but coming to college, that's big time. And she's defensively, like, I think I can get by her. I don't see her anywhere. Out of nowhere, she comes and swats it into the bleachers, and I have no idea where she went. Like, she's incredibly athletic. And as she just keeps playing, I think she's going to be super special for that team.
Cool. Chuck, I think this was pretty special for our first kickoff podcast of the year to have these two guys on. Is pretty cool. And you're talking about two individuals who are very, very confident in themselves. But on the other hand, if you see them on the street, they are the most humble, the most giving, caring people, athletes that are out there right now. And I hope everybody listening to this podcast has some of their, young grandkids, mine specifically, all of that, get to watch this, because these two kids are special, and to come out of the same family, that's pretty cool. And I respect these two guys a lot for what they're doing on and off the court, and just keep up the great work, guys, because good things will happen for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Cool. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Next week, we're going to get back to the Midwest Studies Group Nonprofit of the Week, where we highlight a local nonprofit. But for now, let's get to the part of the show that everyone has been waiting for, the Financial Architects Quote of the Week. And I don't mean everyone's been waiting for it like the past week. I mean all summer till we restarted the show. They've been waiting for this moment.
Right. They've been waiting for financial architects to come up with this quote. Now, this is an interesting quote, okay? Pressure is a privilege. So I heard this a while back, and it's like, so under situations where it's there's a lot of pressure, right? But yet with that, it's a privilege that you have the ability or to partake in that pressure of that, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's trying to score baskets or whether it's trying to close a deal with a company or whatever it might be. But pressure is a privilege, Chuck.
I love it. It's the fact that you have that opportunity to do what you need to do. I mean,
correct.
Right.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. So that's why that quote's good for you. It's good for me, and it's good for everybody. It's time to say goodbye, though, from Chuck and Randy. Catch you next week. Enter the closing music.